Once you learn these life lessons, you will never be the same. Friends, tonight I want to take you beyond the surface of life. You have been conditioned to believe that the world outside controls you, that circumstances decide your destiny, that luck or chance holds the key to your future. But I tell you this, nothing is further from the truth. Life bends to the shape of your inner convictions. What you dare to assume as true in the silence of your imagination will one day stand before you in the form of your experience. Once you understand this, once you truly grasp these life lessons, you will never live as the same person again, for you will know that you are not a victim of life. You are the master of it. You become what you imagine yourself to be. Friends, let me begin by telling you a truth that many people spend their entire lives running away from. You become what you imagine yourself to be. This is not a poetic phrase. It is not a pretty line meant to inspire you for a moment. It is the law of life itself. The world you see outside, the circumstances you meet daily, the people who walk into your path, even the opportunities that either show up or remain absent, they are all molded by the image you hold of yourself in imagination. You cannot rise above the vision you have of yourself. If you see yourself as small, the world will reduce you to smallness. If you see yourself as unlucky, life will make you stumble into misfortune again and again. But if you dare to see yourself as great, if you dare to imagine yourself successful, wealthy, loved, admired, respected, life will conspire to push you into that very role. The secret is not outside of you. The secret is not hidden in the stars, nor is it controlled by some external hand that favors some and rejects others. No, the secret sits quietly within you, waiting for you to use it. That secret is your imagination, the silent power within you. When you close your eyes and picture yourself, how do you see yourself? That picture is the seed of your future. Some of you imagine yourself struggling, worrying, never quite getting what you want, and then you wonder why life continues to bring you those very struggles. But the law is exact. As you imagine, so shall it be. Your imagination is the creative workshop of your destiny. It does not ask whether what you imagine is good or bad, whether it will help you or harm you. It simply takes what you give it and brings it to life. Like fertile soil, it makes no judgment of the seed. Plant weeds and weeds will grow. Plant roses and roses will bloom. Plant an image of failure and failure will spring forth. Plant an image of success and life will be compelled to shape itself around your success. Why most people remain stuck? Now many people tell me, I want to be wealthy, I want to be free, I want to be happy, and yet they live day after day holding an inner picture of lack, of struggle, of disappointment. Their words say one thing, but their imagination paints another picture entirely. They imagine bills piling up, they imagine being rejected, they imagine doors closing, and then they wonder why life gives them exactly what they fear. You see, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot say I'm successful while secretly imagining yourself as broke. You cannot say I'm loved while secretly seeing yourself as unwanted. Imagination always wins. The state you occupy within always defeats the words you speak with your lips. For the world does not respond to your words. It responds to your state of consciousness. The power of assuming a new self. So what must you do? You must dare to assume a new self-image. Ask yourself this question. If I were already the person I long to be, how would I see myself? Then begin at once to imagine that person. If you want wealth, see yourself wealthy. If you want love, imagine yourself loved. If you want freedom, picture yourself free. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Do not wait for outer circumstances to prove it. Begin now, in the privacy of your imagination, to see and feel yourself as that person. For imagination is not make-believe. Imagination is creation. What you imagine with feeling becomes the substance of tomorrow's reality. Examples of transformation. I have seen men and women who once considered themselves failures rise into positions of honor and power simply because they dared to change the picture they held of themselves. They stopped saying, I am unlucky, and began to say within themselves, I am favored. They stopped picturing closed doors and began to see doors opening. And before long, life shifted, opportunities appeared, and the world mirrored back to them the new image they dared to entertain. There was once a man who felt trapped in poverty. Every night he went to bed worrying about his debts. He imagined himself chased by creditors, humiliated, unable to escape, and his life continued to provide him more of the same. One day he heard this truth, that he becomes what he imagines himself to be. That night he closed his eyes, and instead of replaying his fears, He began to imagine himself living in abundance. He saw himself walking with confidence. He imagined friends congratulating him on his success. He persisted in that image night after night. Within months, the door opened. A new opportunity presented itself, and the man stepped into prosperity. What changed? His outer world? No, not at first. What changed was his inner self-image. And the outer world had no choice but to follow. The law cannot be broken. Make no mistake, friends. This law cannot be broken. You may ignore it, you may deny it, but you cannot escape it. You are always becoming what you imagine yourself to be. The question is not whether the law works. The question is, are you using it consciously or unconsciously? Most of humanity uses imagination against themselves. They picture failure and then curse life when failure comes. They imagine rejection and then cry when they are rejected. That you who hear these words tonight have no excuse. For now you know that the images you hold inside will harden into fact outside. From this moment on, you must choose deliberately. A practical exercise. I will give you a practice. Tonight, when you are alone, close your eyes and let the world fade away. Then ask yourself, who do I desire to be? Once you have your answer, create in imagination a simple scene that would imply that your desire is already fulfilled. If you want wealth, perhaps imagine yourself holding a bank statement that thrills you. If you want love, imagine someone embracing you with affection. If you want success, imagine hearing the words, "Congratulations," from the lips of another. Do not watch yourself from a distance. Enter the scene, feel it real, make it vivid, and remain in it until it feels natural. Then go to sleep in that state. Repeat this nightly, and I promise you, life itself will be reshaped by your assumption. The call to awaken. So I say to you, awaken. Stop being careless with your imagination. Stop replaying old failures. Stop picturing disappointment. For every time you do, you are writing the script of tomorrow. Begin tonight to write a new script. See yourself as the person you long to be. Seek from that state. Walk from that state. Live from that state. And soon you will find that you have become that person. Remember, the world is only the mirror. It has no power of its own. Change the image you hold within, and the mirror must reflect it. You become what you imagine yourself to be. There is no exception. There is no delay. The moment you accept this truth and live by it, your life will never be the same. Friends, take this lesson with you tonight. Guard your imagination as you would guard your life. Fill it only with the images of who you choose to become. Persist in those images until they harden into fact, and you will discover the most glorious truth of all, that you are the master of your destiny, and nothing is impossible to you. Teal, feeling is the secret. Friends, tonight I want to impress upon you a truth that is so simple and yet so easily overlooked. Feeling is the secret. You may have heard this phrase before, but I assure you, until you live it, until you apply it with determination, you will continue to wonder why your desires remain unfulfilled. We live in a world that worships thought, a world that praises logic and reason, a world that says, if I can think it, then I can have it. But let me tell you, thought alone does not create. Thought is like a blueprint. Yes, but it is lifeless until feeling clothes it with reality. Thought is the skeleton, but feeling is the flesh and blood. Without feeling, your desire is a shadow. With feeling, it becomes alive. Why thought alone is not enough? Consider this. How many times have you thought of wealth, of health, of success, and yet nothing changed? How many times have you told yourself, I want this, I need this, I must have this, and still the circumstances of your life remain the same? Why? Because desire without feeling is powerless. You may think of riches while feeling poor. You may think of love while feeling lonely. You may think of freedom while feeling trapped. And what does life respond to? Not your words, not your idle thoughts, but the feeling you carry within. It is the feeling that imprints upon the subconscious mind, and it is the subconscious that gives birth to the outer world. The subconscious does not argue with you. It does not weigh your words. It does not ask, does he really mean it? No, it accepts the feeling as the fact. When you feel poor, it accepts poverty. When you feel rejected, it accepts rejection. When you feel successful, it accepts success. The subconscious always gives form to the dominant feeling you entertain, the secret of assumption. So, if you truly desire to transform your life, you must go beyond thinking and enter into feeling. Do not simply say, I will be successful. Instead, ask yourself, what would it feel like if I were already successful? Then enter that feeling as though it were already yours. If you want wealth, do not just think of money. Feel the security of having more than enough. Feel the relief of bills already paid. Feel the joy of generosity, the ease of abundance. If you want love, do not just think of a partner. Feel the warmth of being cherished, the joy of companionship, the tenderness of affection. If you want health, do not just think of a strong body. Feel the vitality, the freedom, the strength running through you. When you feel the state, you are no longer wishing, you are assuming. An assumption is the creative. The bridge of feeling. Feeling is the bridge between imagination and reality. You can imagine a scene 1,000 times, but until you feel it real, it remains a dream. Feeling collapses the distance between you and your desire. Feeling says, it is already mine. And when you live in that conviction, the world has no choice but to echo it back to you. You see, life is not responding to your outer efforts nearly as much as it is responding to your inner state. You may work hard, you may push and strive, but if deep within you carry the feeling of lack, all your efforts will return empty. But if you cultivate the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even the smallest effort will be multiplied and doors will open effortlessly before you. Why people fail to apply it? Now let us be honest. Why do so many fail to apply this? Because they confuse wishing with feeling. They wish for change, but continue to feel the old state. They say, I want to be rich, but go to bed feeling poor. They say, I want to be loved, but walk through life feeling unwanted. And then they cry, it doesn't work. But I tell you, it is not the law that fails. It is the application that fails. The law never fails. The law always delivers according to the feeling you occupy. Entering the feeling state. You may ask, how do I enter this feeling? Let me show you. Tonight, before you fall asleep, choose one desire you wish to see fulfilled. Do not complicate it. Choose something clear. Then create in your imagination a simple scene that implies its fulfillment. If you desire wealth, imagine counting money or seeing your bank statement filled. If you desire love, imagine holding the hand of your beloved. If you desire health, imagine running freely, full of energy. But here is the key. Do not just see it, feel it. Feel the joy in your chest, the ease in your breath, the relief in your body. Allow the emotion to rise, as if it were truly happening now. The more natural the feeling becomes, the closer you are to the manifestation. Persist until the scene feels real. Fall asleep in that state. For the moments before sleep are the most powerful, when the conscious mind drifts away and the subconscious is most open to impression. Plant the feeling there, and the seed is sown. The law of reproduction. Remember, every seed reproduces after its own kind. You cannot plant a feeling of lack and expect abundance. You cannot plant a feeling of loneliness and expect companionship. What you feel, you reproduce. What you feel, you multiply. What you feel, you live. So guard your feelings as you would guard a treasure. Do not indulge in feelings of fear, of doubt, of unworthiness. Replace them deliberately with feelings of confidence, gratitude, and fulfillment. For these are the seeds that will grow into the life you desire. An illustration. I recall a woman who longed for marriage. She thought daily of finding the right man, but in her heart she felt unworthy. Every time she looked in the mirror, she told herself, no one would want me. And life mirrored her feeling. Relationship after relationship failed. Then she learned this truth. That feeling is the secret. She began to change her inner state. Each night before sleep, she imagined being loved. She felt the security of someone's arms around her, the joy of being cherished. She persisted until it felt natural, and soon a man entered her life who adored her. They married, and her outer world reflected the inner feeling she had finally assumed. Do you see? It was not chance. It was not luck. It was the law in action, the call to action. So, my friends, do not waste another day wishing. Do not stand outside the gates of your desire, looking in. Step through the gates by assuming the feeling now. Live as though it were already yours. Think from the desire, not of it. Walk in the mood of the wish fulfilled, and let the world prove you right. I say to you again, feeling is the secret. Thought prepares the way, but feeling builds the reality. Feeling impresses the subconscious, and the subconscious gives birth to your world. So tonight, and every night, Clothe your desires in feeling, feel them real, live in the end, and you will awaken one morning to find that your dreams have become your fact. 3. Live from the end. My friends, tonight I want to take you deeper into the mystery of creation. We have spoken of imagination, we have spoken of feeling, but now I want you to grasp something even more powerful. To manifest what you desire, you must live from the end. What do I mean by this? I mean that you must abandon the old way of wishing and hoping, and instead you must enter into the state of the wish fulfilled. You must think, feel, and act as your desire is already accomplished. The end is the goal achieved. The end is the promise realized. The end is the dream in full bloom. And when you live from the end, you bring it forward into the present, and the world cannot help but conform. The trap of wishing. Most people live their lives wishing. They say, one day I will be wealthy, one day I will be loved, one day I will be free. They stand outside their dream, peering at it from a distance, like a beggar staring at a banquet but never sitting down to eat. And because they see their dream as far away, it remains far away. The law is exact. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you are always standing in the position of longing, life will continue to give you more longing. If you are always standing in the position of waiting, life will keep you waiting. But when you step into the position of already having, then life rushes to meet you with evidence of your assumption. What it means to live from the end. So what does it mean to live from the end? It means you step into the state of your fulfilled desire now. If you want success, you begin to think, feel, and act like a successful person. If you want love, you carry yourself as one who is already loved. If you want freedom, you live with the confidence and ease of one who is already free. You do not wait for the outer world to give you permission. You do not say, I will feel successful when the promotion comes. No, you reverse it. You feel successful now, and the promotion comes because you are already living in the end. An example of living from the end. Let me give you an example. Imagine an actor preparing for a role. If he is cast as a king, he does not sit around saying, one day I will feel like a king. No, he steps into the role immediately. He studies how a king walks, how a king speaks, how a king holds himself. He embodies the character until the audience cannot tell the difference between the man and the role. In the same way, you must embody the role of your desire. If you want wealth, play the part of wealth now. If you want health, act the part of health now. If you want love, embody the part of love now. For life itself is the audience, and it will believe whatever role you faithfully play. The world rearranges itself. When you live from the end, something miraculous happens. The world, with all its seeming complexity, begins to rearrange itself to match your assumption. People appear, opportunities arise, doors open, events unfold, all to bring you the outer evidence of the inner state you have chosen. Do not concern yourself with the how. The how belongs to life. Your only responsibility is the what. What do you desire? What end do you wish to live from? Once you decide, enter into that state, feel it real, and then let life take care of the detail. Why people resist this truth? Now many resist this truth because they say, but if I live as though I already have it, isn't that just pretending? No, my friends. Pretending is something the mind does without conviction. Living from the end is a deep assumption of reality. It is not play acting. It is choosing to inhabit the state of fulfillment until it becomes natural. When a child plays, they enter into their imagination so completely that they forget the outer world. If a child plays as a doctor, in that moment they are a doctor. If they play as a teacher, in that moment they are a teacher. They do not doubt. They do not question. They do not say, but it isn't real. To them it is real, and because it feels real, they experience it as real. That childlike faith is what you must recover. The shift in identity. Living from the end is not about forcing the world, it is about shifting your identity. If you see yourself as a struggler, life will provide struggles. If you see yourself as unlucky, life will confirm your belief. But if you change your identity, if you see yourself as successful, as fortunate, as blessed, life will have no choice but to mirror that identity back to you. You must dare to say, I am already what I desire to be. You must dare to believe it is done. For the moment you assume the end, creation is finished. The rest is simply the unfolding of events to bridge the invisible with the visible. A practice of living from the end. Let us turn this into practice. Tonight choose the end you wish to live from. Perhaps it is wealth, perhaps it is health, perhaps it is love. Then ask yourself, if it were already done, what would my life look like? Paint the picture. What would you be doing tomorrow if your desire were fulfilled? How would you walk into a room? How would you greet others? How would you think of yourself when you wake up in the morning? Now take that image and begin to live from it. Walk with that new posture. Speak with that new tone. Think with that new confidence. Do not wait for the outer evidence. Begin now, and the outer evidence will follow. Stories of transformation. I once knew a man who longed for a higher position in his company. For years he thought about it, dreamed about it, wished for it, but nothing changed. Then one day he heard this truth. Live from the end. He decided to stop wishing and start assuming. He began to carry himself as though he were already in the role. He imagined his colleagues respecting him. He spoke with the authority of one in charge. He walked with confidence, and within a short time, circumstances rearranged themselves, and the promotion came. Another woman, longing for health, lived every day in fear of her illness. She constantly reminded herself of her weakness. But when she discovered the power of living from the end, she shifted her identity. She began to see herself as whole, as vibrant, as strong. She imagined herself walking freely, laughing with energy, living without limitation. She persisted until it felt natural, and soon her body began to reflect the state she had assumed. Do not compromise with the middle. Here is where many stumble. They try to imagine the middle instead of the end. They ask, how will it happen? What steps should I take? What must I do? And in doing so, they lose the power of the end. Forget the middle. Forget the steps. Go straight to the end and live there. The steps will arrange themselves. The bridge of incidents will unfold naturally. Your part is only to live in the end. Closing of section 3. So my friends, let this truth sink deep. You must live from the end. Stop wishing, stop waiting. Stop peering from a distance. Step into your desire now. See yourself as already the person you long to be. Walk as that person. Speak as that person. Think as that person. And soon you will discover that the world has no choice but to conform. For the end is the law of life. Once you assume it, once you live from it, it must harden into fact. And when it does, you will know the greatest secret of all, that imagination creates reality. And by living from the end, you have called the invisible into the visible. 4. The world is yourself pushed out. Friends, tonight I will share with you a truth that may startle you, and yet it is the most liberating discovery you can ever make. The world is yourself pushed out. Every circumstance you encounter, every person you meet, every condition you face is nothing more than the outpicturing of your inner state. Life is not happening to you from the outside. Life is happening through you from within. The world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting back to you the assumptions, beliefs, and feelings that you carry in consciousness. The mirror of life. Think of it this way: when you stand before a mirror, the reflection does not create your face. It only reveals it. If you smile, the mirror smiles back. If you frown, the mirror frowns back. If you lift your hand, the reflection lifts its hand in perfect correspondence. The outer world is that mirror. It has no power of its own. It only reflects. If you see hostility outside, look within, for hostility lives first in you. If you see rejection outside, it is because rejection lives in your imagination. If you see limitation outside, it is because you have accepted limitation as true within yourself. But here is the good news. The moment you change the self you hold inside, the reflection outside must change. It cannot resist you, for it is only your shadow. Why the world appears against you? Many people complain, the world is against me. People are unfair. Circumstances never go my way. But I say, stop blaming the mirror. If the reflection is unkind, it is only showing you the face you are wearing in imagination. You may not like to hear this, for it takes away the comfort of blame. It is easier to accuse fate, to condemn society, to resent others. But once you realize the world is yourself pushed out, you lose the right to blame and you gain the power to change. You see, the world cannot show you what you do not first imagine yourself to be. The outer conditions are simply your assumptions made visible. Change the assumption and the world must conform. Examples of inner cause and outer effect. Let me give you an example. Suppose you hold the assumption that people do not respect you. Perhaps you carry within a secret belief of unworthiness. Without realizing it, you broadcast that assumption in your words, in your tone, in your posture. And what happens? The world mirrors it back. People overlook you, dismiss you, treat you as small. But let that same person assume a new state. Let them walk in the dignity of self-respect. Let them feel worthy. Let them imagine themselves honored, and suddenly, the world reflects it back. The same colleagues who ignored them before begin to treat them differently. Doors that were once closed begin to open. What changed? Not the world, but the self they carried into the world. I recall a man who constantly said, "I can never get ahead. No matter what I do, life keeps me down." And true to his word, life continued to prove him right. Every opportunity slipped through his fingers. Every plan seemed to fail. But when he learned this truth, that the world is himself pushed out, he decided to assume a new state. He began to say within himself, "I am favored. Everything works out for me." He walked in that feeling, and soon opportunities arose. Circumstances shifted, and life began to prove his new assumption true. The responsibility of knowing this law. Once you accept that the world is yourself pushed out, you can no longer indulge in the luxury of self-pity. You can no longer say, "It is their fault," or "It is just bad luck." For you know that all you see is only your inner self objectified. This is not meant to burden you, but to free you. For if the world is only your reflection, then you hold the power to change. You do not need to fight the shadows. You only need to change the light within. Do not argue with appearances. Do not resist what you see. Ask yourself, what am I imagining that makes this appear? Then change the imagination and the appearance will fade. How to apply this truth? Here is how you apply this truth. The next time you face a circumstance you dislike, pause. Instead of reacting with anger or fear, go within. Ask yourself, what inner state does this reflect? Then choose a new state. If you are faced with rejection, do not dwell on rejection. Instead, imagine acceptance. If you are faced with lack, do not dwell on lack. Instead, assume abundance. If you are faced with hostility, do not fight it. Instead, imagine, persist in the new state, and you will find the world reshaping itself to mirror your new assumption. A story of forgiveness through inner change. Let me share with you a story. A woman once came to me, heartbroken over a betrayal. She said, "He wronged me. He humiliated me, and I cannot forgive him." I told her forgiveness is not about condoning the act. It is about changing the state you hold of another. If you continue to imagine him as unfaithful, you keep him bound to that role in your world. But if you imagine him differently, you free both him and yourself. She practiced this. Each night before sleep, she imagined him as kind, as loving, as faithful. She clothed him in a new state, and soon he changed before her eyes. The hostility vanished, the relationship healed. Why? Because she stopped holding the old picture and began to see him as new. The world is yourself pushed out, even in relationships. The courage to change self. This truth requires courage. It is easy to point at the world and say they must change. It is harder to look within and say I must change. But until you do, nothing outside will change. If you see yourself as a victim, life will treat you as one. If you see yourself as powerless, life will agree. But if you dare to see yourself as powerful, as favored, as chosen, life will reflect that. The courage lies in shifting the self you assume to be true. Practical exercise. I want to give you a practice tonight. Choose one condition in your life that troubles you. Do not run from it, but face it. Then close your eyes and ask, what self am I assuming that allows this condition to exist? Once you see it, choose a new self. If you have assumed yourself poor, choose to assume yourself wealthy. If you have assumed yourself unloved, choose to assume yourself cherished. If you have assumed yourself unlucky, choose to assume yourself blessed. Now dwell in that new self. Imagine scenes that would confirm it. Feel them real. Live from that new assumption. And watch. For soon the mirror must reflect it. So my friends, let this sink into your heart. The world is yourself pushed out. Do not fight shadows. Do not wrestle with appearances. Go within. Change the self you hold in imagination, and the outer world will conform. The mirror cannot resist you. It has no choice but to show you what you imagine yourself to be. So imagine wisely. Assume boldly, live faithfully, and you will see your world transformed before your very eyes. Fight persist until it hardens into fact. My friends, here is a truth that will test your patience, your faith, and your endurance more than anything else I have shared with you tonight. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. You may say to yourself, I have imagined, I have felt the wish fulfilled. I have entered the end, yet still nothing has changed. Where is the evidence? Where is the proof? And in that moment of doubt, many abandon the state they once embraced. They return to the old man, the old way of thinking, and then wonder why life remains the same. But I tell you, the world is not slow to respond, it is exact. Every assumption you hold with persistence must by law solidify into fact. The outer world is clay, and your inner conviction is the hand that shapes it. The only question is, will you persist long enough to see the invisible become visible? The nature of seeds. Think of the farmer who plants a seed in the ground. He does not wake the next morning, dig it up, and say it has not grown, therefore the soil is barren. He trusts the unseen process. He waters, he waits, he nurtures, and he holds in faith the image of the harvest. And so it is with you. Every assumption is a seed planted in the garden of your subconscious. If you disturb it with doubt, if you uproot it with fear, the harvest is delayed or destroyed. But if you hold firm, if you nurture it with feeling, it will sprout. You may not know how, or when, or by what means, but it will. The temptation of appearances. Persistence is difficult because appearances seem so convincing. You say, but look, the facts are against me. The evidence denies my dream. And I remind you, facts are only shadows of your previous assumptions. Do not worship them. Do not bow before them. If you were to measure progress only by what the outer world shows you today, you would abandon every dream you ever conceived. For the world is always a delayed reflection of inner conviction. The reflection lags behind the assumption. To demand instant evidence is to misunderstand the nature of creation. The power of inner loyalty. To persist is to remain loyal to the unseen reality, even when the outer world contradicts it. It is to close your eyes and dwell in the finished state, regardless of what your senses scream. If you imagine yourself wealthy, yet the bills pile high, persistence says, I will not waver. I am wealth itself, and the world must rearrange to show me so. If you imagine yourself loved, yet loneliness surrounds you, persistence says, this solitude is but a shadow. Love is already mine. You remain loyal not to what is seen, but to what is felt within. And in that loyalty, the outer world bends to your faith. Stories of persistence. Think of the inventor who toiled year after year, failing again and again, yet persisted in the conviction that what he sought was possible. To the world he looked foolish. To himself, he lived in the end. Eventually the world called him a genius, or the mother who prays for her child, who holds in imagination the picture of health, even when doctors declare otherwise. She does not yield to appearances. She persists in love. And what the world calls a miracle is nothing more than the fruit of persistence. Do not time the harvest. One of the greatest mistakes is to place a deadline on your assumption. You say, if it does not happen by next week, it must not work. But that is not persistence. That is bargaining. Do not time the harvest. Time is only the servant of assumption, not the master. Continue to live in the end, whether it takes a day, a month, or a year. For once the seed is planted, the harvest is sure. The law cannot fail. The role of discipline. Persistence requires discipline. It means training your mind to return again and again to the fulfilled state. When doubts arise, and they will, you gently but firmly shift back. When fear whispers, it will never happen, you answer, it already has. This is not struggle. It is faith in practice. Each time you persist, you strengthen the reality of your assumption. Each time you refuse to surrender to appearances, you weave the invisible into the visible. Persistence is proof of belief. Anyone can imagine for a moment. Anyone can close their eyes and dream for a night. But persistence reveals what you truly believe. If you abandon your assumption after a week, it is not the law that failed. It is belief that wavered. Persist long enough, and you will see that faith always hardens into fact. What you refuse to let go inwardly, life cannot refuse you outwardly. Practical application. Tonight I invite you to choose one desire, one dream, one state. Enter into it fully. Feel the wish fulfilled, and from this night forward, Persist. Each time doubt appears, return to the end. Each time the senses mock you, remind yourself, this is but the shadow. The reality is already mine. Carry the state with you into sleep. Awake in it, walk in it, live from it. And when the outer world has no choice but to yield, you will stand amazed, not at the miracle, but at the law. So I tell you, persist until it hardens into fact. Do not measure by appearances. Do not uproot the seed. Trust the unseen process. For the same power that created the universe responds to your inner conviction. The moment you imagine, the work is already finished. Persistence is simply the proof of your faith. And when you persist long enough, the invisible must become visible. The unseen must be seen, and your dream must stand before you as undeniable reality. My friends, never doubt this. If you persist, you cannot fail. 6. Do not accept limitations. My friends, listen carefully. The only prison that has ever held you is the one you accepted in your own mind. The only chains that bind you are the chains of belief, the quiet agreement you made with limitations imposed by the world, by society, by family, and by the voice of doubt within yourself. But I tell you tonight, in absolute certainty, no limitation has power over you unless you consent to it. The nature of limitation. What is limitation? It is not reality. It is only suggestion. The world whispers, you cannot. You are not enough. You were not born into the right family. You do not have the right education. You do not possess the right opportunity. And many bow before these whispers as if they were divine law. But the truth is this: limitation exists only in the realm of acceptance. Refuse it, and it dissolves. Accept it, and it becomes your master. Your environment, your past, your current circumstances, these are not walls. They are shadows of past assumptions. They have no more substance than a dream fading in the morning light. The only reason they persist is because you continue to accept them as true. The subtle trap of agreement. Every day the world tempts you to agree with smallness. A friend may tell you, it's too hard. An employer may say, you've reached your limit. A voice inside may whisper, you've gone as far as you can. And without realizing it, you nod in agreement. You say, yes, perhaps they are right. Perhaps I am not destined for more. That nod is the act of surrender. That agreement is the true birth of limitation. Understand this. The world can present you with facts, statistics, and evidence, but it cannot force you to agree. That choice belongs to you alone. The imagination knows no chains. Close your eyes for a moment. In imagination, can you not be anywhere? Can you not be anyone? Can you not possess this very moment the very thing you desire? There are no boundaries in the imagination, no chains, no doors locked against you. In imagination, you are free, limitless, and infinite. This is the truth of who you are. If you persist in this truth, if you live from the limitless self within, then the outer world must conform. But if you bow to the outer world and say, this is reality, this is all I am allowed, then imagination is wasted, and you enslave yourself to appearances. The danger of labels. Beware of labels. The world loves to categorize, to define, to box you in with words. They say, you are poor, you are sick, you are unlucky, you are ordinary. But who told you to answer to those names? Who told you that label was yours to carry? If you accept the label, you live under its weight. But if you refuse, if you stand tall in imagination and declare, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am extraordinary, then the label dissolves and the truth within you rises. The power of refusal. Never underestimate the power of refusal. To say no, this is not mine, is an act of creation. When the world presents you with limitation, refuse it. When doubt whispers, refuse it. When fear says you cannot, refuse it. This refusal is not denial of reality. It is loyalty to a higher reality. It is the decision to stand in the unseen truth of imagination, rather than bow to the temporary shadow of appearances. Examples of breaking limits. History is filled with men and women who refused limitation. The child told he would never read, who became a writer. The man told he would never walk, who became a runner. The dreamer told he would fail, who built an empire. Each one refused the world's verdict. Each one stood in imagination. Each one declared, I am more than what I see. I am greater than what they say. I refuse limitation. And the world, though slow at first, bowed to their conviction. Your true identity. The greatest limitation is forgetfulness. forgetting who you truly are. You are not the sum of your bank account, your health reports, your resume, or the opinions of others. You are imagination itself. You are the creative power of life, clothed in human form. How can imagination be limited? How can infinity be bound? It cannot. Only forgetfulness makes it seem so. So awaken, my friends. Do not accept the small story written for you by the world. Write your own. Step into the larger self that knows no boundaries. Practical application. How then do you live without accepting limitation? Begin here. Each time it appears, whether from within or without, pause. Do not agree. Answer with imagination. If the world says you cannot afford it, then imagine yourself already possessing it. If it says you are unworthy of love, then imagine yourself cherished and adored. Refuse the shadow. Speak within yourself. That is not my truth. My reality is already fulfilled. Persist in freedom. Each time the old chains rattle, remind yourself, I am free. I do not consent. The more you practice, the lighter the chains become, until one day you realize there were no chains at all, only illusions you once accepted. So I say to you tonight, do not accept limitations, refuse the labels, reject the verdicts, turn away from the shadow, for you are not bound by the past, nor by circumstance, nor by the opinions of others. The only power limitation has is the power you give it through agreement. Withdraw that agreement, and you walk free. Stand in imagination, claim your freedom, and live from the limitless truth within. Then watch as the world, step by step, reflects the greatness you have always carried inside. My friends, remember this. The moment you stop consenting to limitation, you step into the infinite. 7. Live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. My friends, let me tell you the greatest secret you will ever hear. The secret of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. All creation begins in the unseen, in imagination, but it becomes reality only when you feel it to be real. You must step into the state of already having, already being, already living the life you desire. Desire alone is not enough. Many of you have desires. You wish to be wealthy, healthy, loved, successful, free, and yet desire by itself is powerless. Desire without fulfillment is longing, and longing only multiplies more longing. The bridge between desire and manifestation is feeling. To desire is to ask. To feel it real is to receive. You cannot merely wish for a better life. You must clothe yourself in the sensation of already possessing it. You cannot simply hope for success. You must feel successful, walk successful, breathe successful. The power of assumption. The key is assumption. To assume the state of the wish fulfilled is to live as if it were already true. When you assume, you do not beg. You do not question. You rest in certainty. Think of a child on the eve of their birthday. They go to bed knowing their gift is already purchased, already waiting. They do not doubt. They do not worry. They feel the joy now, even before their eyes see it. That is the power of assumption. When you live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the outer world must eventually conform. It cannot resist the law of imagination. Feeling is the secret ingredient. What does it mean to feel? It means you awaken the emotions, the sensations, the inner knowing that what you desire is yours now. If you want wealth, do not say one day I will be rich. Instead, imagine the weight of money in your hand, the joy of paying for something with ease, the thrill of seeing abundance flow. Feel it as though it were true now. If you want health, do not say I hope I get better. Instead, feel the energy surging through your body, the lightness of freedom, the joy of walking in strength. Claim it as now. If you want love, do not say I wish someone would love me. Instead, feel the warmth of being cherished, the comfort of companionship, the bliss of knowing you are chosen. Live in that feeling. Living in the end. You must live in the end, not in the struggle. Too many people dwell in the middle. They focus on obstacles, processes, and delays. They say, when I get the job, then I will feel secure. When I meet the person, then I will feel loved. When I am healed, then I will feel joy. But the law of life is the reverse. Feel secure, and the job will come. Feel loved, and the person will appear. Feel joy, and healing will follow. You do not wait for the world to grant you permission. You grant yourself the feeling first, and the world must echo it. The illusion of waiting. Waiting is the greatest trap. The moment you say one day, you postpone your blessing. You place your desire in a future that never arrives. The only moment you possess is now, and now is the only time creation takes place. If you cannot feel it now, you will never feel it. For tomorrow is only the echo of today's assumption. So live it now, step into it now, wear the crown now. Even if the world still sees the beggar's clothes, the world responds to your inner state. Never forget, the world is not responding to your words but to your state of being. You may say, I want success. But if within you feel lack, fear or doubt, the world reflects that. On the other hand, if you say nothing but inwardly feel abundance, opportunity and certainty, the world bows to that conviction. Your inner state is the magnet, the outer world is the metal. What you hold within draws to itself without fail. An example of living the wish fulfilled. Imagine a man desiring wealth. He spends his days worrying, counting pennies, fearing bills. Even when he prays, his heart is anxious. His words say, I want abundance, but his feeling says, I am poor. And the world reflects poverty. Now imagine another man. His circumstances may look the same, but inwardly he walks in wealth. When he pays for something, he imagines his account overflowing. When he sees others succeed, he feels himself lifted too. When he closes his eyes, he sees himself already living the life of prosperity. Though the world first resists, eventually it must bend. For the second man lives in the state of wealth, and the law of life cannot deny him. How to practice the feeling? Let us make it simple. Tonight, when you lie down, close your eyes and step into the end. Ask yourself, if my desire were already fulfilled, what would I feel now? Do not think of the process. Think only of the result. Then sink into the joy, relief, gratitude, or excitement that would be yours. Stay there until it feels natural. Fall asleep in that feeling. And when you wake, carry it with you into the day. Every action, every word, every thought must spring from that inner state. Soon it will be no longer an effort, but your natural dwelling place. Persistence creates reality. The outer world may not shift immediately. That does not matter. Do not measure by appearances. Persist in the feeling, and appearances will bend. Like a seed planted in soil, the fulfillment is already yours the moment you feel it. Though unseen, it is certain. The harvest comes not by doubt, but by persistence. Hold to your assumption until it hardens into fact. So I say to you, live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not wait. Do not beg. Do not hope for some distant tomorrow. Bring tomorrow into today through feeling. Imagine, assume, and clothe yourself in the emotions of already being. The one you long to be. Walk in it, breathe in it, sleep in it, wake in it, until it becomes your natural state. And when you do, the world cannot resist. It must reflect the inner certainty you carry. Remember, the outer world is but a shadow. The real power lies within, and within you are already who you choose to be. Live it now and watch the miracle unfold. 8. The law of revision. My friends, tonight I want to share with you one of the most extraordinary gifts ever given to man. The ability to revise the past. Yes, you heard me right. You are not condemned to live forever under the weight of yesterday. You have the power through imagination to rewrite what has been, and in rewriting it, you change not only your memory, but also your destiny. The past is not fixed. Most people believe the past is written in stone. They say, what happened, happened. I cannot change it. And so they live in chains. They carry bitterness, regrets, and wounds, and they let these shadows dictate their present and future. But let me tell you this. The past is not dead. The past lives on in your mind. And what lives in your mind can be changed. Events are not permanent. It is your interpretation, your memory of them, that binds you. And memory is imagination. If imagination created the pain, imagination can heal it. What is revision? Revision is the deliberate act of reseeing. It is looking back at an event that caused you sorrow, shame, or failure, and rewriting it in your imagination as though it happened differently. It is not denial. It is not pretending. It is creation. It is recognizing that imagination shapes reality. And therefore, if you reshape the past in your mind, the ripple moves forward into your present and future. When you revise, you free yourself from the prison of what was and step into the liberty of what is possible. Why revision works? The world you live in is nothing but crystallized imagination. Your present life is the outpicturing of your past assumptions, and those assumptions often sprang from events you once labeled as final. For example, if as a child you were told you would never succeed, and you accepted that, you carried that assumption into adulthood. Every action, every choice unconsciously flowed from that wound. But when you go back in imagination and revise the scene, hearing instead words of encouragement, seeing yourself loved, supported, and successful. You change the assumption, and once the assumption changes, the future must change. The law is simple: change your concept of self, and your world reshapes itself to mirror it. How to apply the law of revision? Let me give you the method plainly. At night, when you lie down to rest, review the day. Let every event pass before your mind's eye. If you come upon something that displeased you, that hurt you, or that you wish had been different, stop and revise it. Take the scene and replay it in imagination, but this time rewrite it as you wish it had happened. If someone spoke harshly, imagine them speaking kindly. If you failed, imagine success. If you were rejected, imagine acceptance. Feel the joy of the new outcome. Clothe yourself in its relief, and repeat it until it feels real. Then drift into sleep with that new memory engraved upon your mind. The secret of forgiveness. Do you see what happens here? Revision is the secret of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not saying, "It is fine, I will forget." No, forgiveness is imagining differently. When you revise, you release the other person from the role they once played, and you release yourself from the pain it caused. You no longer hold them or yourself guilty, because in imagination the offense no longer exists. This is true forgiveness, to revise the past until harmony replaces discord. Revision changes destiny. Do not underestimate the power of this. A revised past reshapes the present. Let me give you an example. Suppose yesterday you quarreled with a friend. Angry words were spoken. If you leave it untouched, the bitterness hardens, and soon that friendship may be lost. But if at night you revise the quarrel, imagine instead a loving exchange, laughter, harmony, and reconciliation. Then tomorrow when you meet again, you will notice a softness, a new warmth. The world bends to your revised memory. Or suppose as a child you were always told you are not good enough. Those words echo into your adulthood, poisoning your self-image. But if tonight you go back and hear instead, "You are capable, you are chosen, you are loved," then slowly a new self-concept forms, and the world must mirror it with success, opportunity, and love. This is not fantasy, this is law. Revision requires faith and persistence. Now let me warn you, the first time you attempt revision, the mind may resist. It will say, "That is not how it happened." Stop lying to yourself. But I tell you, imagination is more real than memory. The world outside is nothing but memory objectified. Do not cling to the old story. Persist in the new. Revision requires faith. It requires persistence. But if you hold to it, the new memory will root itself, and the old will fade as though it never was. Living a life of continuous revision. Make revision a daily practice. Each night, sweep the day clean. Do not go to sleep carrying the dirt of disappointment. Wash it in imagination. Rewrite every scene until only harmony remains. If you live this way, you will discover something marvelous. Your life becomes lighter. You walk freer. Opportunities open, relationships heal, and the future unfolds in surprising beauty. For you are no longer the prisoner of circumstance. You are the author of your destiny. The power to redeem the past. Think of what this means. You have the power to redeem every wrong turn, every mistake, every loss. Nothing is wasted, because imagination can reclaim it all. Did you fail in business? Revise it, and let that revision guide you to new success. Did you suffer rejection? Revise it, and watch how love finds its way back into your life. Did someone betray you? Revise it and see them as loyal and kind, and the sting of betrayal dissolve. You redeem the past not by erasing it, but by reimagining it. And in doing so, you free yourself. Closing of section 8. So I say to you, practice the law of revision. Refuse to be bound by yesterday. Refuse to live in regret. Refuse to accept a past that contradicts your desire. Every night, rewrite the story of your life. Live as though the best has always been yours. Imagine until your heart feels relief, joy, and freedom. And watch how the world bends to your revised history. Watch how old wounds heal, how new doors open, how the future blossoms in ways you could not plan. For the past is not your jailer, it is your servant. And through revision you command it to serve your highest good. My friends, take this power and use it. Do not let one more day end with disappointment. Rewrite it, revise it, redeem it, and in doing so, you will discover that you are not the victim of life, you are its author. 9. The power of faith beyond appearances. This, my friends, if there is one lesson that will forever set you apart from the crowd, it is this. Do not be fooled by appearances. Do not bow before the visible facts that stand before you, for they are nothing but shadows of a deeper cause. The world you see with your eyes is not the master of your destiny. It is but the servant, an obedient echo of what you carry within yourself. Every person who has ever accomplished anything of greatness, anything of substance, has had to learn this truth. Appearances are liars. What you see is already old. It is the evidence of what was imagined yesterday, last month, last year. If you are to rise higher, you must free yourself from worshipping appearances and anchor yourself in the invisible cause. The imagination. Faith, true faith, is not blind. Faith is the bold decision to see the invisible more real than the visible. It is to walk in your world today with the conviction that your inner assumption already is. The outer world may still scream the opposite. The bank account may look empty. The doctor may say there is no cure. The people around you may doubt you, laugh at you, and even pity you. Yet if you dare to hold firm to the unseen reality within, you will walk through appearances as if they were nothing more than smoke, and they will dissolve before your very eyes. Think of the countless moments in your own life where appearances deceived you. How many times did you look at a situation and believe it was permanent, only to later realize it was nothing but a passing state? You believed the storm would never end, yet it did. You thought the door was forever shut, yet it opened. You thought you were stuck in darkness, yet the light returned. Life itself has already shown you that appearances are not to be trusted. Why then should you give them the authority to rule your heart? Faith beyond appearances is not easy. It is a discipline of the soul. It requires you to rise each day and declare within yourself, I am greater than what I see. I am greater than what they tell me. I am greater than these present conditions. It is to walk into a world of lack with the inner song of abundance. It is to face sickness with the imagination of wholeness. It is to stand before a locked door with the vision of yourself, already walking through it. Do you understand what I mean? The world has conditioned you to respond to appearance. From childhood, you have been taught to measure life by what the senses confirm. If you see it, it must be true. If you cannot see it, it must not exist. But the greatest lesson of life is the exact opposite. What you cannot see is more real than what you can. The seed beneath the soil is invisible, but it is more real than the barren ground above. The dream in your heart is invisible, but it is more real than the obstacles around you. The assumption you hold in imagination is invisible, but it is the very substance from which your world is built. The world will call you foolish for living this way. They will mock you for believing in what cannot be seen. But the very ones who mock will later call you lucky when they watch your world rearrange itself around your unwavering faith. They will say, how fortunate you are, how things always seem to work for you. And yet it was no fortune at all. It was faith. Faith that refused to bow to appearances. So I tell you, train your inner vision. When appearances contradict your desire, turn inward and remind yourself, this too shall pass. This is not the final word. My inner world is greater. Walk through the seeming facts of life with the authority of one who knows the truth. Do not resist appearances. Do not fight them. Do not waste your energy in anger or despair. Simply see them for what they are. Shadows, echoes, reflections of yesterday's imagination. And then gently, confidently, persist in your inner knowing. If you can master this one lesson, you will never be the same again, for you will have discovered the secret of freedom. You will no longer be tossed about by every storm. You will no longer tremble before temporary conditions. You will stand firm in the conviction that all things are possible, and that the invisible reality within you is the only power worth trusting. So tonight, as you leave this place, remember this. Appearances are powerless. The true power lies within your imagination, clothed with faith. Dare to walk by that inner light. Dare to believe in what is not yet seen. Dare to hold fast to the unseen promise in your heart. And I assure you, the day will come when the world you see will bow before the world you have dared to imagine. That is the lesson. Faith beyond appearances. And once you truly learn it, you will never again be the same. 10. Claim your life. Live it boldly, my friends. We have come together tonight, not merely to talk of dreams, not merely to ponder ideas, but to claim the life that has always been waiting for you. You have learned the laws of imagination, the power of assumption, the necessity of persistence, the freedom from limitation, the mastery of feeling, the law of revision, and the courage to see beyond appearances. And now the final lesson stands before you, clear and undeniable. You must claim your life and live it boldly. You are the creator of your world. Understand this fully. You are not a passenger in the journey of life. You are the captain, the navigator, the very force that shapes the seas upon which you sail. All that you see around you, your circumstances, your relationships, your finances, your health, are but reflections of your inner world. They are clay in your hands, waiting for you to shape them. And yet, so many live as though life is something done to them, as though they are victims of circumstance, as though others hold the keys to their success, their happiness, their freedom. My friends, there is no such power outside of you. The power is within. The moment you realize this, you step into authority over your world. Step into the reality you desire. Do not wait for conditions to change. Do not wait for people to approve you. Do not wait for the world to hand you permission. That moment will never come. The law of life is clear. You must live from the reality you desire, and the world will follow. To claim your life boldly is to do exactly this. It is to imagine yourself already living the life you want. To feel the satisfaction, the joy, the freedom, the abundance, the love, as though it were already present. To carry yourself as one who has already arrived. You may say, but the evidence is not here, the bills are unpaid, the illness remains, the opportunity has not yet appeared, and I tell you, that is the shadow. Do not serve it, do not fear it, do not make it your master. Step boldly into the unseen and the world will be forced to follow. Live boldly in imagination. There is a boldness required here, a courage that surpasses all fear. To claim your life is to refuse the smallness imposed by others. It is to walk into your imagination with confidence, daring to live as though every desire is already fulfilled. Many shrink back because they fear being disappointed. They fear ridicule, failure, or rejection. But my friends, disappointment is never real. It is only the echo of old assumptions. Failure is never real. It is only the resistance of the outer world to your new inner state. The moment you persist in imagination, boldness becomes your shield and the world must yield. The role of faith and action. Claiming your life boldly does not mean you sit idle waiting for miracles to fall from the sky. No, it means acting from the state of already having. Your actions are no longer fueled by desperation or doubt. They are fueled by the inner certainty of fulfillment. If you desire wealth, act as the person who already possesses it. Make decisions as one already secure. Speak as one already confident. Invest your energy where a wealthy mind would invest it. If you desire love, act as one already cherished. Speak with kindness. Walk with confidence. Love yourself fully and the world must answer in kind. If you desire health, act as one already healed. Nourish your body with care, move with vitality, and rest with the belief that your perfect health is already present. Action from this inner state is not struggle. It is natural. It flows effortlessly, and its results are unstoppable. The freedom of bold living. Boldness in life is freedom. It is the release from fear, hesitation, and compromise. It is the declaration that you will not settle for less than your imagination has conceived. To live boldly is to honor the infinite within you. The world will offer distractions, naysayers, and obstacles, but do not be distracted. The bold mind ignores the noise and holds firm to the inner reality. You are not here to tiptoe through life, to survive, or to follow the crowd. You are here to create, to flourish, and to enjoy the fullness of your being. The power of persistence revisited. Remember what we have learned. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. Claiming your life boldly requires that you persist without wavering. You may stumble. Appearances may contradict your vision. People may doubt you. Circumstances may resist. Persist anyway. Persist in imagination. Persist in feeling. Persist in action. The moment you refuse to abandon the state of your fulfilled desire, the outer world must yield. Persistence is the secret of all achievement. It is the silent, unseen force that transforms dreams into reality, living as if you are already complete. To claim your life boldly is to live as if you are already complete. It is to inhabit your imagination fully, to feel the satisfaction of your desires now, not in some distant, uncertain future. To speak and act with authority, knowing the universe conspires to bring your inner conviction into the outer world. This is not arrogance, it is law. The universe is listening. The universe is waiting. Your inner state is the command that shapes all things. A call to action. Tonight I call upon you to claim your life. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living the life you have always dreamed of. Feel it real. Feel it natural. Step into it as though it has always been yours. When you awaken tomorrow, carry that feeling into every action, every word, every thought. Persist in it through doubt, through fear, through the illusions of limitation. Persist until the unseen becomes visible. Persist until the impossible becomes inevitable. Do not compromise. Do not settle. Do not delay. Life is not a rehearsal. This is your one opportunity to create, to shine, to fulfill your highest vision. Step boldly, step with confidence, step as the creator of your world. Closing words. And now, my friends, understand this. You have been given every tool to change your life. You have learned the laws of imagination, the power of assumption, the necessity of persistence, the freedom from limitation, the mastery of feeling, the law of revision, and the courage to see beyond appearances. And now, with all this knowledge, you stand ready to claim your life bold. The world is waiting, not for your permission, but for the unfolding of your imagination. Step into it, walk in it, live it, persist until it hardens into fact, and you will never be the same again. You are not here to wait. You are here to create. You are not here to follow. You are here to lead. You are not here to doubt. You are here to know. Claim your life, live it boldly, and watch as the universe responds with fidelity, power, and love. For once you do this, my friends, you are unstoppable. You are limitless. You are free.